Hello everyone, Autobot Umbreon here, coming back with another daily video. To make up for not posting in a while, I'm just going to start doing these things daily, just getting some reviews out here while I'm trying to write the script for the stop motion series. So, yeah. So for today's review, like yesterday I did my Shockwaves, and the day before that I did Sideswipe and Sunstreaker. For today I thought it would be cool to take a look at the original 2014 Crosshairs mold compared to the new Studio Series one. Which isn't that new anymore because, I'm late on a lot of this stuff. I've had it for a while, I just haven't done a review on it. So yeah, starting off in car mode, this is I think it's Hotspot or Hotshot or something from Age of Extinction, I don't know. I call this one Tracks because the color scheme, and once we get to robot mode, you'll definitely see resemblances to the G1 Tracks. So that's what I call this. And then this is just Crosshairs. So, starting off in vehicle mode, you can see that Tracks is definitely larger. Both of them are actually licensed. As you can see, it's not painted here on Tracks, but both of them have the Stingray logo up there. They're both licensed, which is cool. This took a little bit more of a toonish approach for the car mode, which I'm fine with. It looks really good. The spoiler on Crosshairs is a separate accessory, so I don't really like that. If you hear any noise in the background, that's just the heater I have out here. So, yeah, and taking a closer look up here, you can definitely tell there's a difference in the paint. Like, you got the black and green on Crosshairs, and then you just have the solid blue. But you have the Autobot symbol here on Tracks, which defies the whole purpose of robots in disguise, but, it's still cool. So, yeah. And then from the underneath, you can see how differently they transform. Yeah, as you can see, it kind of looks like Tracks. So, let's start with probably the more complex one. And if you're watching this to see how to transform Crosshairs, don't. Because I have no idea how to transform this thing. It's been a while. It's just been sitting on my shelf. So, oh god. How do you do this? Oh, okay. I did something. Holding arms down, I think. Okay. Okay, it already looks weird. But that's to be expected of Crosshairs, Whom, by the way, is a great character in the movies. I highly recommend watching Age of Extinction if you haven't already, because that is one of my personal favorite Transformers movies. It's a shame that there's not many figures from that line in the Studio Series, because of how cool those designs are. I know they have like Drift and Stinger that came out in the early days of Studio Series, so I don't have either of those two, for good reason. I also didn't get Galvatron because Galvatron didn't look the part. I'd rather get the original figure than the Studio Series one. How do you transform his fist? Oh my gosh, there, finally. Oh my gosh. Come on. Oh wow. Well, I can already say this Crosshairs has strong joints. That's probably just because he's been sitting on my shelf. I haven't really messed around with him much. Messed around with the original figure more than I have this thing. That's how... there's been sort of a downgrade. I mean, it's not like the biggest downgrade in history, but it's still like a slight downgrade. I think you do that. And then, what do you do with these? Oh, do you just like... Okay, that all just goes to the back, and yeah. Crosshairs! I went in thinking this would be awesome, and here it is with, oh wow, that is so far out of camera. Anyways, yeah, here he is with a ton of back kibble because it has nowhere to go. At least he has the front skirts right, because that's cool, at least. I'll bring him a little closer. Anyways, here we have tracks. So this one I mess around with frequently. So you just want to grab those, bring them down, lift up. I said, okay, maybe not. Yeah, there we go. And then, yeah. So this one, there's a little less engineering, but, you know, that's to be expected. This one is way older than that thing could ever be. Yeah, this is crazy. Dealing with a piece of history like this. Let's flare those wheels out. Flip the skirt back a bit. And bam. There's tracks. So let me readjust the camera here. And yeah. So these two figures, they're based off of the same character model, but they give me two completely different vibes. As you can see here with Trax, he goes from being an all-blue vehicle to having this red, black, white added onto the blue here in robot mode, which looks so good. Yeah, this is a really good attempt at the design, knowing how complicated it is to do everything. He even gets most of the kibble right. Like, he has the back skirt here, he has the side skirts, he also does the front skirts too, but they're with a rubber stuff that you actually have to tab in here. I just leave them like this. It just looks a lot better that way. One thing though is that the back kibble stands out just a little bit, but it doesn't bother me that much. But on the other hand, you have this thing. This back kibble is atrocious. But yeah. Wait, let me just see if I can readjust this back kibble. Oh, wait, yeah, okay. I just mistransformed it. Okay, so now, here's another issue I have with it. Now the back kibble, this is the correct transformation, I think. The back kibble is right up against his back now, and it doesn't have, like, the flare like this thing has, so you literally can't move the legs backwards at all, which sucks, because this is a really dynamic character. But what this thing lacks in articulation, it definitely makes up for in details. Focus. Like, look at that head sculpt. I mean, got the mustache sculpted in there. You have his goggles that wraps all the way around, the eyes, the nose, everything sculpted so nicely. Have all this detail in the chest. You have his abs, the arms, like I said, the side skirts that come out really nicely. And then the legs are just solid green, but there's some nice texturing on them, as you can see. And it looks the part, which is why it's just been on my shelf. Because that's basically all it is. It looks the part, but it's not that, like, fun to mess around with. But on the other hand, then there's this thing. This thing, yeah. As you can see, he has a lot of sculpted stuff, but because of the way they decided to paint it, a lot of it gets hidden. Like on the face, you can't really tell because of all that red, but the helmet's picked out in this nice white and you can see it clearly. So that's cool. Then the shoulder pads I like a lot more on this one just because they're a lot more broad. I know it's not accurate to the design, but I just like thinking of this as tracks and not crosshairs. So yeah, I like the more broad approach. It just seems more tracks, you know? And the arms, they look the part, except from this angle where they're just panels for the car mode, but, you know, that's to be expected. Yeah, he still has the ab section, all that. The thighs are sculpted in nice. He has this nice red and blue here on the lower, after the knee or so. I don't know what to call it, but yeah, it's like really good. Yeah, as you can see, he's definitely wider than this one too, which is nice. And they're almost the same size, from almost being like a 9-10 year difference. I don't know how long. I would say roughly 10 years difference, but still, it's really cool. Articulation for Crosshairs, he has a ball joint here, but because of the way it's sculpted, like the collar and whatnot, you can only really move up and down slightly and basically get swivel. So not much there. Shoulders, their correct formation, they're supposed to be like this, which means you can't move them at all, which sucks. So if you mistransform them forward, then you can kind of rotate it. Not much. Elbow bend to barely 90. And then the wrist can only move inwards, which sucks, but oh well. The legs can kick forward decently far, not far enough for my liking, just because of how dynamic he's supposed to be. And then they can't kick back hardly because of the back kibble. I guess I should mention that they do give you the option to get rid of some of the back kibble. It's on a ball joint, so you can just pop it off. But then that doesn't really look that nice from the back. And then it just makes him look like a pancake from the side. So, yeah. I'll just leave him like that for now, I guess. Then he has a double bend here at the knee. So it's really far. Once you move the back kibble, you can get the leg to go pretty far too. So that's nice. And then the foot is on a ball joint, so left, right, forwards, back, any way you want the foot to go. So, yeah, Crosshairs. Then we get to tracks where more or less he has the same articulation. It just feels a lot nicer. Like, you have the ball joint here at the head, basically the same limitations as the Studio Series one, but it just feels a lot nicer to move. The shoulders you can move really easily. They're on ball joints, so you can get a wide range with them. The arms have two hinges, I guess. They go way past 90. And an advantage he has over this Crosshairs is that he has wrist swivel, which is awesome. The only issue is that he has this giant panel in front of this side of the wrist, so you can't get him holding anything that way, which could have been avoided by just having that flip back, but I see why they didn't do it. The legs are designed a little weird, but I still really like them. So they go forward, and then they can go back. Not that far, but this seems about right, unlike what Crosshairs was able to do. So, fine with that. Has a really good knee bend. His foot can go forward and back, but not left and right. But yet again, it's a 2014 figure, so that was not an expectation. Another thing is that this does not have a waist joint, which sucks because Studio Series, and he's supposed to be the most articulated he can be, as well as being the most detailed. So, yeah. Overall, I mean, they're both really fun figures, mostly. But if I had to recommend one of them to you, I would definitely recommend Trax. I found them for really cheap. I got like 2 of them for like 20, I think. So you should totally do that. It's a really good figure, and you'll have a lot of fun with it. Or even if you feel up to it, just get the original Crosshairs or the Last Night version of the Crosshairs mold, because both of them are really good. But yeah, until next time, Autobot Umbreon out.